Okay, it's recording.
Okay, cool. All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Gabriel Brent, and with me I have John Erdley, who is one of the mentors here at Appazone. So, with that being said, this is the Appa Swing Pub, and we're going to be going over our forecasts as well as what we've been watching in the markets as a whole. We're going to be covering ETFs, futures, stocks, all the above, in one glorious summary of the amazingness that is our markets today. So uh, please stay tuned, and I believe we have John. John, are you there?
Yes.
All right, John. I'm going to go ahead and let you take things away from here and just tell
Sure.
us a little bit of what you've been up to, what markets you're looking at, and all that kind of good stuff. So,
Well, I've been swing trading a lot more the last several weeks. I'm kind of taking a little break on day trading, and yeah, really just focusing on uh, position trading for the summer, and mainly just working with ETFs and some individual stocks, but trading things off of a weekly context with entries on a daily chart or a daily type of context with entries on a 30-minute chart. And we'll start out looking at some of the broad indexes in ETF form, and here you have the SPY, the weekly, pretty much uptrend. We got our trender background is green, and just the primary basic conditions that you have for an uptrend are pretty evident. You have higher highs, higher lows, demand taking out supply. We look at the dead zones. All you're going to see are pretty much supply dead zones. So we've been in a strong uptrend, not really two-sided at all. We've only seen one pullback in the recent, oh, I guess, over almost a year, probably 8 months, that, is able to take out one of these yellow pivots. Um, and really, yeah, strong market that's in a strong uptrend. And after making this higher high here, we've gone into broader type of consolidation on our weekly chart, and that makes sense considering even though we're making a higher high, when you have deeper pullbacks going against a trend, as you do here, eventually the result is generally some type of range, and it tends to be broader, and we can kind of tell that this range has been a lot more two-sided than the small little consolidation that goes on after making a higher high. So going down to our daily chart here, we just this week made a higher high, and you can tell, it's kind of been a doldrum week. We have just consolidated right on top of the range, and we've just seen inside bar, inside bar, inside bar. So if you're trading off a 30-minute chart, um, you could have played that consolidation, but nothing really super exciting. Um, I want to have deeper pullbacks in the daily zones and play off 30-minute charts that are nested within those. Uh, and when I'm trading with a daily context, I want to have, pullbacks into nice, fresh weekly zones, and really the bottom of the weekly consolidation is right here. But that kind of gives you an idea of where we are in a lot of these indexes. The trend is up. Uh, Dow Jones is the same way. Here we're going to look at IWM. I hit a T1, I think, at the beginning of the week, or maybe it was last Friday. Actually, no, it was the beginning of the week. And yeah, now we're just kind of waiting. We're getting towards the top of the weekly consolidation. Anything can, happen here. We could, since it's a range, it could come back down to the bottom. But, this is why context is so important. If you're going to be playing any of this consolidation, do it to the long side. Go with the trend. What's another market to look at? Now we can start getting, I'm looking at here. Let's look at this. I didn't get to look at this again, but I was looking at TLT, the idea for a counter trend bounce. Okay, so we have been in an uptrend on this weekly, and really from all of 2013, we had a deeper pullback. We uh, consolidated. We couldn't reach this area right here, and momentum started changing. And especially once we're able to see price break out above this pivot right here, I'm going to look for this thing to push higher, which it does, but it's a really quick move to the upside. So then we get a quick move down, and when you have quick move out, quick move down, look for range. And at this point, we see the range make a lower low. And even though we've made a lower low on here, I think you're going to see a stronger pullback to the upside. It's just a matter of, what will happen here. So looking at our daily, I'll draw it like this. We are in this weekly zone and we're consolidating. We just made a lower low, and um, we're seeing a push up towards the top of this little consolidation zone. I'm going to continue to wait on this until I see some type of price action event on this chart. If this, whether my entry chart happens to be on my daily or my 30-minute. And when I say price action event, having a significant trend line broken, or being able to, burst above this solid trender right here and make a higher high and form a trend line to the upside. Something significant, price action event. So we're going to wait on that. It's just consolidating, and, yeah, not much, that's just in the, on the wait list, which, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of things that they come into a zone, and you just got to let marinate and kind of play out. So an example of this is okay, let's do Walmart. All right, Walmart. So, here I was watching Walmart even last week. This is the weekly area that I've identified, and it's very possible. I think we're probably going to maybe see a continuation down here and then look for the bounce. So I'll need to recalibrate my weekly zone. But anyway, it's really important, just as you do on futures, to be aware of um, economic data that's coming up, in the sense that you don't want to be entering a position generally 5 minutes before oil inventories, or 5 minutes before employment, or you're just kind of gambling, because what's going to happen on the announcement of that event, regardless of what the bigger implications are in the long run from the price action standpoint, you're going to see generally lots of volatility happen, and price is going to be gapping at very fast rates. And earnings reports are the same thing with with stocks. You rather just wait for it to um, yeah not have the earnings and then come into your zone, such as let's go look at lows. And then I'll go into here we got low, had earnings and gap down into this daily support level. And we kind of had the weekly zone down here, but it makes sense. I can see actually this zone being a little bigger on a weekly, or really capturing where the breakout of the expansion out of this directional consolidation occurred. But regardless, I think you're in the bottom of a broad consolidation range on this weekly chart. So here it actually closed up pretty well today and didn't make a higher high, and that kind of would have been a price action event for me to maybe consider going long and putting the stop down at 67.70. But I even closed out. I reduced my position on some of my 30-minute entry charts, such as XLI and OIH is another one. But for the sake of, we're going into the weekend, into a holiday on Monday, and if I can reduce my gap risk exposure, that's fine. I'm still, it's best to, once you get your signal on whatever your entry chart is, you let it, play out, and whatever happens, happens. So, yeah, this is just, I'm playing the bottom of this little consolidation that's going here on a 30-minute entry, looking for a little push higher. We'll see. Nothing, super spectacular. Let's go into some of the positions that I've had. Now, just in the sake, you could buy something before earnings and get unlucky, it gaps down. Well, sometimes you can get lucky. I got lucky on HBQ. It was unbeknownst to me that this was having earnings yesterday, and this was a situation where we've had this breakdown on the weekly. We have been in a really strong uptrend. Finally, a pullback that's able to do a price action event. So I'm thinking we're going to have like a broad range at some point. We're going to see some two-sided trading, quick move up, quick move down. And here is kind of a scenario where after coming down here and consolidating, think that momentum has changed to the upside, and we're going to see a deeper follow through into the extreme of the range, so the top of the range. So yeah, ended up kind of getting long off this daily entry. Really, entry was like 33.55 and had a nice little gap up. They hit a T1 at 34.80, and now we'll just see what happens. Other positions, doop-a-doop-a-doo. Let's look at, I got this one's going nicely. This was off a daily entry, Viacom, I believe. And, quite simply, a nice little reversal bounce to the bottom of weekly consolidation on a daily here. Entry was, what was entry? It was via 65.63. So a little bit right there. And yeah, playing a T1 to up here. We'll see what happens. Google's starting to turn off a little bit. Kind of middle of a broad range on this weekly. have been in an uptrend. But now after really being able to see this continued push from this weekly supply, um, definitely kind of see the broad range dynamic kind of occurring and have a T2 placed up here, entered off this right here, consolidation continued, took a little while. Now we're seeing the push up towards the T1. And I think on that note, yeah. Gabe, you want to take over?
Yeah, that would be fun. So thanks for sharing. I really
Hey,
appreciate
no
that.
problem.
It's very cool to see all the different stuff that you're up to. So hopefully everybody can see my screen now. All right, so I'm going to be covering the forex markets here. Euro USD is something that has come on my radar screen this week. Looking at the big weekly chart, I don't know about you, but that looks like a downtrend to me. So looking at price reloading over here, thought that was extremely interesting. Prices come back, touching that aqua zone, and that looks pretty cool. So on the daily chart, you can see that we had some interesting daily and weekly confluence there with the zones. And then on the 60-minute time frame, you can see that, well, let's see if we can see that big circle. You can see what it looks like on the 60-minute time frame, but unfortunately that wasn't something that I was able to take when it was reloading up in that area. So I was more so watching this over the past couple days. So you can see that we had a couple levels highlighted here on the 60-minute time frame. Real nice second retest of this zone here. And got a double bar engulf, which is really, really cool. And well, the thing just absolutely took off. So it looks like it's continuing in its downtrend, and looking at the daily, we can see that we have it all the way till down here before we hit the first signs of support. Okay, now I am defining the trend as being down on this one. So if we do our little trend follow things, we can say that trend follow is down. Okay. And the opposite would be true for the long side. All right. Now that's coming more so off of the weekly chart, but the daily chart we can see where we're hitting the level. The trender is absolutely flat, which is important from an Apizones community and an Apizones perspective. So I thought that was really, really interesting. But that's the first market that I wanted to start off with here today. Next is the euro pound. Same kind of thing happening on the euro pound. Looks like we're in the downtrend, and we've reloaded to the upside, so we're ready to push down again, and that's exactly what is happening here. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Now, on this downwards play, we can see that we are touching this aqua zone down here at the very bottom of the weekly range. It's a nice daily zone, and had a couple different perspectives. Basically, I'm looking for price to continue on to the south side, but which way will it go? It's going to hit this zone, as we can see what it did today, but I'm looking for a pullback before I can get into like a downwards move if the trend is truly down. Okay, So I think it could push on through, and then maybe do some type of retracement in this area, or possibly even pull back to up there and then back down again. So those are the two different areas that I'm watching for on the euro pound. So we're still defining the trend as being down here on this one. We'll just say TF is to the downside. Okay. Another one that been watching here is the euro yen. Okay. Now on the euro yen, we have broken through broken through supply on the bigger time frames, and we have a brand new support or demand level being formed. All right, and we're retesting the bottom reaches of that level right now. Okay, so the trender here on the daily, it says that we are starting to trend upwards. Okay, and I think that's an interesting perspective if you look at the comparison in between the daily and the weekly together. Okay, we can kind of see some fractal harmony coming along with this new level being plotted there and with where prices being plotted here. So I'm feeling that the trend is up on this market. Okay. And that's the way that I'm going to be looking for things. Okay. So I just thought that was really, really interesting and really cool stuff. All right, it looks like we have a few different questions here, but I will get to those at the end of the presentation. Went through my major three that I wanted to cover here. Let's go ahead and look at the Aussie yen. All right, so same kind of feeling. We're reloading into a big weekly supply zone over here. We have touched base and we've formed a higher low on this particular market. We drew in the trend line as such. Drawing in a trend line from here, it's really preemptive to do so, but we would be looking more so for the trend to the downside to continue. Okay, so where's a good place to get in if price is trending down? Well, it's to buy high and sell low, right? Or excuse me, to sell high and buy back low. That's how we short the market. So looking at all this, you can see what has happened over that retest all the way up there at the top, and we can see just those candles are really big, at the very, very top. It's come down and it's done the little retest up here, but it's just been absolutely amazing how this thing has come down here over the past several days. So it is kind of choppy coming down here on the 60-minute time frame, but we need to realize what's going on and take advantage of that. Okay. So something else I want to be aware of. Let's look at the dollar yen, because this market is doing something a little bit different. It looks like we've been in an uptrend on the big weekly chart, right? Now we're coming into the daily chart, and we're getting outside of the range a little bit here. We're retesting the outer parts of the range that we have been in. Okay, so we've been looking at this market for the past several weeks, and you can see some of our drawings. And we thought, price is going to come up here, bounce back down, and then push up to the upper parts of the range. And well, surprise, surprise, that has actually come true now. Okay, so we are here. Congratulations, you are here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase those drawings that we've had from the past and pretty much the forecast of what that looked like. Now, that was drawn April 6th through the 17th, and here we are in May. So you can see how long these moves sometimes take, so a lot of these, this isn't magic, we're not dabbling in anything mystical here. We're just really reading the charts, and we've seen this move happen, or the possibility of it happening over the past several weeks, as we've been doing the Swing Pub. And it's really cool to finally see some of this stuff come to fruition like this. So, yeah, sometimes it takes months for these moves to happen, but that's what happens when you're on the big daily and weekly charts, because let's face it, it's these are bigger charts, so it just takes a little bit longer for these things to happen. So we're coming up here to the extremes now. Is price going to bust through, or is it going to fail? That is the decision point that we have to make right here. So just out of curiosity, how many people out there think that price is going to bust through this level? The weekly chart says that we're in an uptrend. All right, so we have a couple bust throughs or long ideas. All right, so our trender down here has been completely flat. Okay, completely flat trender, but right now it's starting to slope up ever so slightly, which really doesn't mean a whole lot to me, just because I know where we are in the grand scheme of things. But we are looking, or I am looking for price to bust through this level, but it really is a decision point right here. Okay, we've spent a lot of time in this range, just a ton of time. Okay, so we will definitely see what goes on. All right, so in the perspective of drawing out our ideas here, let's come over here to the right side of our chart. And we're going to draw a little trend follow and CT as we come into this area. Okay, so we know that we're at a decision point, but do we have any idea really what's going to happen? No. But we know what the trend is telling us, and the trend is our friend. So that's what I'm going to stick to. All right. Until it proves me wrong, that's what we're going with. And we've seen a wonderful range period. So hopefully it's moving in waves, something like this. Comes up, ranges around here maybe for a while. And then we have the continuation. Okay. So time will tell, but that's what we're looking at right now. So thanks guys for participating in my little poll. Appreciate that. And that pretty much concludes today's session as far as wrapping up the different markets here and what we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and look at the ES market. just to show you what has been going on here, because it seems like we've been ranging a lot, and now we've finally broken through that rangy period, and again we're starting to slowly drift higher. Okay, so it is a slow drift though, so I think that's interesting. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and look at crude just real quick. Well, because we can, is really the reason why. So we've seen the trender has gone flat here. It is green, and to me, it looks like it's kind of reloading off of this consolidation that we found right there. And I'm looking for on CL for price to go up. Okay, so that is what I'm looking for as far as the crude oil markets. All right, so we really need to see another retest of these highs up here. And I'm not really going to be looking at a CT trade until after this zone breaks. Okay, so we want to drop below that level. Now on the big weekly time frame, yes, we're reloading into this area here for us, right? You can see the big weekly zone that we're in right now. And we've kind of been ranging back and forth, you know. But the idea of what we're trying to do doesn't change that. Even though the big weekly chart is saying that, hey, you know what, we could just be reloading in the big weekly zone and come back down. Yes, absolutely we could, you know. But it doesn't change how I'm going to be looking at the markets. I want to buy low and sell high, or vice versa. Okay. So if I'm going to be taking a short, I want to be taking a short at the extremes of the range, because I have to assume the market's going to range before it's going to trend. And those type of ideas, I think, are really, really important in understanding context and how we define context. So could price go ahead and turn around here and come on down? You know, sure it could. You know, absolutely. But the trend is starting to roll over. If we can get another new high, I think that the trend will really confirm the long, and we'll probably break through this weekly level and go from there. So I hope that helps everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. For all those in the live audience, we're going to get to all of those questions that we've had piling up. But for everybody else, we hope to see you here next week. The same bat time, same bat station. So take care and God bless. Bye-bye.